Ghostwire Tokyo could have been a great game, but sadly, it left me feeling very disappointed. I wouldn't say I completely disliked the game, it was unique and I respect that. I just thought it got boring too fast, the game just felt a lot longer than it needed to be. The game is set in Shibuya, Tokyo. It follows the story of Akito, a young boy who is met with an accident and is on the verge of death. He survives when he gets possessed by a spirit named Keke. At the same time, a mysterious man in a Hanya mask appears on all digital signs talking about how he's going to be the salvation to people's souls. Long story short, everyone's souls except for Akito's is stolen by the Hanya mask guy. Oh, and for some reason, you also have elemental powers now thanks to Keke. The story was so bland and boring. I didn't care for either character. I just couldn't get invested in the story. A lot of things didn't even make sense, honestly. It felt like a lot of interesting concepts were put in one game with absolutely no direction. Now let's talk about combat. It seemed interesting in the beginning, but like everything else in this game, it got boring too fast. You have three elemental attacks: wind, water, and fire. Though it looks very cool, the combat felt very shallow. You have to keep shooting at the spooky ghosts, wait for their core to be exposed, and kind of pull it out. Oh, and yes, you need ether to fill your elemental attacks. To get ether, you break these random shimmery objects that are just floating nearby. There's also different talismans available to use, which I completely ignored because the weapon select wheel felt horrible to use. There's certain absolutely tedious moments in the game where your connection with KK is severed, so you can't use any elemental attacks. Luckily, you do have a bow to use, but stealth purging or simply running away was always the better option. There is a skill tree, it's pretty okay, nothing great. To level up, you need to find lost souls, use a paper katashiro to absorb those souls, and trade them in for experience and money at payphones. The spooky ghosts that roam the streets are called visitors. Now, those were pretty cool. I genuinely thought they were creepy, some even terrified me. Now, let's talk about the most annoying part of the game, which is cleansing the Torii gates. There is an evil fog that clouds the streets, blocking your path to the next mission. But the problem is, every single mission in the game was literally cleansing Torii gates. This single thing is what stretched the game longer than it should have been. Let's talk about what Ghostwire Tokyo gets right, which is the world building. I love how the streets of Shibuya looked. The once busy streets are now empty with clothes of people whose souls were stolen is haunting. Seeing visitors and hearing them was terrifying at times. They did a really good job at portraying the feeling of isolation. You can find lots of random notes at places telling you a little more about the people that once lived. There's also a few side quests where you can help out some of these lost souls. Honestly, I didn't do any of it. I just wanted to be done with the game after the first hour of playing it. There are certain parts in the game which have the most mind bending visuals, which I absolutely loved. They always caught me by surprise, and I was left wanting more. I feel like having taken so much inspiration from the Japanese folklore, they could have made a game with more depth. The game could have been much better if it was completely linear. Ghostwire Tokyo is definitely one of those games you have to play and see for yourself if you like it or not. I personally don't recommend you pay full price for it. Luckily, the game is available on Game Pass. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and let me know if there's any game you would like me to play and review. Thank you so much for watching.